Gerard Patrick Conlon, known as Gerry Conlon, was born in Belfast, in Northern Ireland, in the United Kingdom, on March 1, 1954. He grew up at 7 Peel Street, on the corner of Mary Street, in the impoverished close-knit community of the Lower Falls Road. He described his childhood as happy. His father was Gerry Conlon, a factory worker who died in prison in 1980, and his mother was called Sarah Conlon, a hospital cleaner who died in 2008. In 1974, at the age of 20, Conlon went to England to look for work and to escape the everyday violence he was encountering on the streets of Belfast. He was living with a group of squatters in London when he was arrested for the Guildford Four bombings, which occurred on October 5 the same year. Conlon, along with fellow Irishmen Paul, Michael Hill and Paddy Armstrong, and an English woman named Carol Richardson, known as the Guildford Four, were convicted on October 22, 1975, of planting 2 bombs a year earlier in the Surrey town of Guildford, which killed 5 people and injured dozens more. The 4 were sentenced to life in prison. At their trial, the judge, Lord John Donaldson, told the defendants, "If hanging were still an option, you would have been executed." He continued to protest his innocence, insisting that the police had tortured him into making a false confession. On October 19, 1989, he was vindicated when the Guildford Four were freed after the Court of Appeal in London had ruled that the police had fabricated the handwritten interrogation notes used in the conviction. Crucial evidence, proving Conlon could not have carried out the bombings, had been held back by the police from the original trial. Most notably, the police falsely claimed that they had been unable to locate Charles Burke, a homeless man with whom Conlon had been using drugs in a local park at the time of the bombings. A group of Conlon's relatives, collectively known as the Maguire 7, were convicted of being part of the bombing campaign and also spent decades in prison. Among them was his father, Giuseppe, who had travelled to London from Belfast to help with his son's legal defence, and had died in prison in 1980. In 1991 the Maguire 7 were exonerated, although by this time they had all either served their prison sentences in full or, in the case of Giuseppe Conlon, died. So-called scientists at the time had falsely claimed the hands of each defendant had tested positive for nitroglycerine. After leaving the Court of Appeal as a free man in 1989, Conlon said, "I have been in prison for something I did not do. I am totally innocent. The Maguire 7 are innocent. Let's hope the Birmingham 6 are freed." He was represented by human rights lawyer Gareth Pearce, who later secured the release of the Birmingham 6. Conlon described his experience of injustice in his book, Proved Innocent, published in 1990. He was portrayed by Daniel Day-Lewis in the film, In the Name of the Father, released in 1993. After his release from prison, Conlon had problems adjusting to civilian life. He suffered 2 nervous breakdowns, attempted suicide, and became addicted to alcohol and other drugs. He later recovered and became a campaigner against various miscarriages of justice in the United Kingdom and around the world. He also made a cameo appearance in the 1997 film Face, alongside actor Robert Carlyle. Gerry Conlon died of lung cancer on June 21, 2014, at an age of 60 in Belfast, where he was surrounded by family. His funeral was held at St. Peter's Cathedral in Belfast. The ceremony was presided by Father Ian Delat, and saw the participation of the other members of the Guildford Four, the Maguire 7, Irish tarnished Eamon Gilmore, and his former lawyer Gareth Pearce.